hate when there'll be like some experiment is done, like they did one on fish to see if fish could feel fear, and they were like, oh well, their body triggered the exact same hormonal and like neuro response that humans have, but we don't know if that's actually fear, you know.
That's my least favorite. Like people's argument for fishing when they're like, oh, fish don't feel pain, and I'm like, you're putting a sharp thing through their lip, which is one of the most sensitive parts of their body. Like, I'm pretty sure that they do feel that and that they're not a fan of it.
Or like in the elephant section of Beyond Words, they showed that elephants will go back and visit the spots that like an elephant in their like family has died. They'll come back and they'll kind of like feel the bones with their trunks, and they'll kind of just like stay there for like an hour or so. Like obviously they're like mourning and like they're having a moment. Like it's just it seems like something.
And they remember too.
Yeah, like but like they're having an intense reaction to that, and I'm like, that just must be terrifying, because I think we just think of it in terms of like, oh, we like if you see something horrific happen, you have an emotional response, but it's like they are sensing so much more than we even realize.
Right.
Like probably almost every time that an elephant gets killed, like within 500 miles of them, they can feel it like through their feet. They can like sense through the ground or whatever. Mm-hmm. They are sensing something like not something that we can sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Like my dog, when I'm upset, he know like either he'll bring me a toy and like wag his tail and be a whack job like he normally is and try and get me to play, but if he thinks I'm upset or tired, I don't know how good he is at telling between the two, or maybe that's his default for like both those things, is like drop the toy close to me and then lay down by my feet. Like he knows.
Dogs are like also one of the only species that can read human facial cues. I'm like, that's insane. That's actually insane.
But they're like, no, they've just learned it from looking at humans. Like, yes.
Yeah, we learned it.
They evolved, like, to read humans' faces. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably better at communicating between us than we are. Like, they look at us and they see happy, so they think, oh, they're happy. And then we look at dog and we're like, no, he's not smiling.
Yeah.
Like, he is, because he learned it from us.
I know.
Even, like, biologists will be like, I read some study in, in Animal Wise, where it was about the ants, and, like, they teach each other how to do little tandem runs, and, like, they would paint them and, like, watch which ants taught which ants how to do things, and, it was really cool, and it seemed like that was valid. And then in my Evolution of Behavior textbook, it mentioned that same experiment, and it was like, but there's no proof that they're actually teaching. It's, like, it's a cooperative response to, like, this pressure. And I was like, but they're teaching. Like,
that is the definition
they're not
of
in
teaching.
a classroom. Like, this ant went out of its way to show this ant how to do the thing. Like, that's teaching right there. And it was like, no, this is, like, a learned behavior. And I was like, yeah.
That's what
exactly.
Is. I just read this really cool study that shows that ants measure distance by steps, because they, like, gave them a distance, and then for some of the ants, they cut their legs in half, and then for some of the other ants, they put stilts on them. And so, like, the ones that got cut in half, they only went half the distance, and the ones that got stilts, like, overshot their home by, like, the same amount, exactly by counting steps. It's like, well, somehow they're counting them. That's obviously, like, a pretty, like, intellectual thing to be able to keep track of the exact number of steps.
We only measure animals by, like, the cognitive tests that we think are impressive.
Yeah.
So, like, we're like, oh, does it recognize itself in the mirror? But then we're like, oh, bats can communicate by echolocation. Like, that's not that exciting. Like, let's go back to seeing if they can see themselves in the mirror. Like, we only care about them being able to do the things that we think are special about us. And then we're like, oh, we can't do that thing? Doesn't matter. We're just judging them on our own standards.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work because they were not evolved to have the society that we have.
And, like, it's not like I'm saying, like, oh, what humans can do aren't as impressive. These are all equally really impressive, intelligent things, and they should all be awarded, like, there shouldn't be a ranking system of intelligence. Like, I always talk about, I'm passionate about animal intelligence, but, like, then when people are like, oh yeah, I've heard that this species is really smart, and I'm like, no, all species are really smart, because we're all smart. It's like, it's partly because humans in our society have, like, a ranking system of intelligence where we literally rank our students, or it's like the whole IQ or whatever, and it's like, no, we all, like, have intelligence in our own ways. Like, you're gonna have a higher IQ score based on a certain test and your ability to do one certain thing, but it's like, maybe that person's not as good as, like, reading facial cues as, like, someone else that maybe isn't as good at math, you know what I mean? Like, we just have this, like, weird obsession with, like, proving ourselves superior to other people through intelligence, but it's just like, this shouldn't even be something, like, quantified.